Bees in general are defensive, not aggressive. So they don't want to sting you. In the case of honeybees, it actually kills them to sting you, and that's really their last line of defense. We are at Willow Bar Farm on Sauvie Island. I'm with Bee in Bloom, and we are a bee conservation and beekeeping education company in Portland, Oregon.
Around the world, we have about 20,000 different species of bees that all perform a very important role of pollination. Here in North America, we have about 4,000 species, and in Oregon, we have an estimated about 500 or so species of bee pollinators here.
And the thing that kind of classifies a bee or puts them in that group is their phylogeny, so they're closely related to wasps and ants in the insect order Hymenoptera, but then they also gather all of their food from flowers. Or they land on a flower, they gather pollen for their protein source, nectar for their energy source, it's their carbohydrate, and as a result, they're moving a lot of that pollen around.
Without our pollinators, we would not have the plants continuing to thrive and reproduce successfully, so we'd lose those forest lands. It's really interesting to think about with bees. They evolved over the course of a millennia, 100 million plus years we're talking about, with plants to be really efficient at this process.
When we see bees struggling because of habitat loss, because of rampant pesticide use, because of climate change, it's really just holding a mirror back to the effect that we're having on our environment and the ways that we kind of need to course correct in order to preserve these species and just our environment as a whole.
You know, in order to save the bees, quote unquote, we don't have to do these really extraordinary things. It really is simple to help save pollinators. Really providing that habitat is crucial and number one. Having flowers, especially seasonally blooming plants, is really, really critical for bees. And then providing some sort of nesting area. Those things can be really, really critical, and it's really our native bees that we need to start thinking about a little bit more heavily in order to help save the bees.